Does anyone know what the future world of work may look like and how the relationship between workers and organizations may evolve in time? If you're not sure but would like to learn a bit more about it, stay with me because this video is going to take us through a Deloitte report that really outlines 4 potential scenarios we all should be mindful of. The 4 potential scenarios that may happen in the future are work as fashion, war between talent, work is work, and purpose unleashed.
I love coming into work every day. I want to work for a company that values giving back.
The entire industry can change overnight.
We all had to get used to a new way of doing things.
Prospective employees expect more, and we have to meet that demand.
Every one of our employees is given a sense of agency.
I took this job expecting to collect a paycheck, but this place, it's more than that.
Work as fashion. The employer-worker relationship is reactive. Employers may find themselves in constant motion where they're simply following workers' sentiments, where they're simply responding to their competitors' actions and marketplace dynamics. In a nutshell, this scenario is linked to how brands deal with fashion trends and linked to seasonal trends when it comes to clothing. Basically, whatever it's in or trendy, you will get to see in our clothing shops. And at the same time, what we have also noticed is that some organizations seem to react to their working practices and what they enable their employees to have access to is also linked to trends. One of the big trends at the moment is hybrid working, as in you can combine working in the office and home, and some of these decisions are left to local management or employees to work out themselves without really looking at the bigger picture and crafting a sustainable strategy. Employers that find themselves in this potential scenario, as in work as fashion, will need to go beyond simple responsiveness to what's happening at the moment if they want to gain their own competitive advantage. So therefore, if organizations want to move from being reactive to being active, number 1 action is to create a sustainable workforce strategy. The war between talent scenario. The worker-employer relationship in this scenario is impersonal. Employers see workers as interchangeable, it's easy to find people out there, there is lack of investment in internal workforce, they simply advertise and go externally to replace the existing leaving workforce, without having the conversation with you in the first place to really understand what is going on and your reasons for leaving. In this particular scenario, workers will find themselves competing for jobs and competing with each other rather than focus on the quality of their relationship with their employer. Work is work. In the work is work potential scenario, the worker-employer relationship is very professional. In this particular scenario, employers are treating their workers really well. They hire them to do a set of activities and responsibilities, and that's what workers also expect. But when it comes to seeking meaningful work and purpose, the expectation on both parties is that that will be sought outside work. Purpose unleashed. In this scenario, purpose unleashed, the worker-employer relationship is communal. In this particular scenario, both workers and employers see the purpose as the foundation of their relationship. And this purpose is the most important tie that binds them together. You will often get this question in job interviews when hiring organizations ask you to comment as to why you would like to work for them. And in most examples, people often say, I really like your vision, your mission, your values, your strategy. It's in line with my own values and purpose. I think that's that selling point that really employers can have and play to clearly explain as to what they do, what their purpose and role is in their society or country, locally or globally, and seeking to find employees and workers who have those kind of set of values and seek to achieve the same purpose. There is so much more to this report, which I do encourage you to read and refer to in your own job interviews or in your current roles as you're coming up with ideas. It's free to download, it's free to watch these videos and examples. And in my own summary, when I think about as to where we are now, I do find many organizations in this stage of work as fashion without clearly defining what their strategy is going forward, what is their hybrid working strategy going forward, and how they're developing and reskilling internal workforce, especially where we have certain set of activities that will be automated going forward. My suggestion and advice to anyone really watching this video, if you are an employer or a startup or work in particular roles where you can influence some of this, or even if you are just a worker or employee who may be asked or surveyed from time to time as to what you would like to see from your organizations, my top tip is to really work out and design your strategic workforce plan going forward, strategic people plan. Define your hybrid ways of working, really assess and establish as to what essential skill set you need, what's desirable going forward, how are you going to upskill your internal workforce, what absolutely needs to be done from physical locations, what can be done from other locations, and really invest in your internal workforce where you have an opportunity to upskill them and enable them to be creative and really contribute to the success of our organizations. It's quite important for our own continuous professional development to really be up to date with latest research and findings that's available out there for free. I'm not sure about you, but I'm in a position where I can influence some of these potential scenarios in the future based on my role and what I currently do. You may find yourself where you are being asked to provide feedback or potentially influence some of these strategies going forward, regardless of the roles you work in. I will attach relevant links for you to read and download this report, and there are amazing videos that Deloitte also pulled together for all of us to access and really quickly help us understand as to where organizations may end up in the future going forward.